my child.
Hello guys, and welcome back to some more Assassin's Creed Origins. So we have some new stuff here that we still have not looked at. What the portable Endless blueprint should look like. Okay. What is this? This is best TV show. Okay. Bayek notes. Breaking pieces, breathe, choices, déjà vu much. Keep going. I make fun, Bayek and I are breaking up. I'd yell and shout, but I know what they're both feeling. This is shit. I literally lived both sides of the story. I knew. I think she'd figured out something like this was going to happen since Remo died. But Bayek, he really thought he could fix things. You can't fix your kid dying, Bayek. He died. Of course they can fix the relationship because someone dies. I don't see every single parent... I don't see... I mean, there are a lot of examples in movies and gaming, but in real life, I don't think the parents break up because the kid died. I think it's a little bit extreme. You don't need to break up because of that, and it seems a little bit weird that she excuses that, saying it's completely normal to do that. But I think it's understandable. They still slept together and everything after Remo died. So I don't get why they can't fix things, because they clearly can, based on what I've seen, so... Aya's choosing what he's to do, Bayek's doing what he has to do. I wonder if this is the moment Abstergo was looking for. It's linchpin in time. I'm angry and sad, but this is it. This is why it all started. An innocent died. Here are some stupid notes. Aya's going to Rome. Brutus and Cassius are going to help her build up an organization there. She's going to take out Caesar and Septimus. They have it coming. An assassin bureau, it'll be founded in Rome because of Aya's mission. They call themselves the Hidden Ones. Assassins. They're the Brotherhood. That's it. I'm so tired. This happened ages ago, and I'm so I miss you, D. Okay. Breathe. Type slow. Those orbs need to figure out. Holographic. Okay. We all lost someone we loved. Or may not be loved the ideals. No, as far as I know, I didn't lose anyone. Maybe you did, but I'm pretty sure you just went into the thingy. I don't remember you if you lost someone anyway. United with Aya is going to be as simple as by things. They love each other. Yeah. I have to keep going. Bayek still hasn't found whoever has actually murdered his son. What is this? The truth. Some pictures. Okay. Pretty cool, though. Aha, alright. Well, that's kind of cool, though. It's nice to see all of these different things. And nothing new has happened since then. Okay. Well, let's head inside the Animus again. Yes, I'm ready. I do think these sections outside are too short, though. I do want to get to know the character who we're supposed to, like, be vouching for here. Not just the person we are looking back to in the past. It doesn't seem to have a higher goal.
Is that for Foxidas? A gift?
No. It's a relic. I don't want to talk about it, Damastis.
Isn't that Bayek's? Let me have it. I'll give it to Foxidas myself. He loves these things.
I'll kill you. How about that? I'm in no mood for compromise today.
Ooh. He's so gonna be a bad spy or something.
Past Neapolis in the crack of morning. With strong wind, you'll be standing in Rome's forum in 2 days' time. It's over between you and Bayek, eh? I can feel... No decision is easy. But you are a chosen one. And now you are free! Like me!
So begins a new day.
Why would he... I don't like Aya as much anymore. She makes no sense half the time.
Galley speed!
Letting go of the past? Now, for what reason? Bayek is the only reason why she's doing this. And she knows he's there to help out. In another part of the world. So why is she throwing away everything he is? It just feels weird. No, I'm not too invested in the relationship as a whole because it seems kind of messed up in retrospect. But it's been messed up for a long time. So, I don't know.
Fleet up ahead. Do you see?
Don't drop your guard entirely. We should assume they are expecting us.
You sound thrilled about it.
Eager, old man. Eager to be done with this scum and move on to the next pile of scum.
Infinite scum. Such is the world we live in.
Done, 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 done. I really do love the flipping sounds that had happens here. I cannot express how much I like it.
We have been spotted!
Those flares will summon their navy.
Prepare yourselves!
For a big ship battle. Dong, dong, yeah.
Here they come. Forward, men! Litter the sea with their shattered hulls.
Dun, dun, dun. Hold to aim fleet catapults. How do I? Oh, I didn't even know I had this. How do I shoot? Hold to call in catapults. Oh.
The songs they will sing about us when this day is out.
I forgot I had catapults.
I will wear seaweed like a siren and sing them myself.
I will hold you to that.
Believe me, you would be sorry. Now
Oh, I did not mean to do that. Oh boy. Brace. Can I like?
Ready. Taking aim. Go to hover. Another down. There is only one more left for the abyss. Heavy speed. Easy pace. Go to hover. Heave to. Galley speed.
Big ouchie. That cannot be the whole fleet. No, not Assassin's Creed 3 again. No. You guys should know what level I'm talking about.
They'll hit us.
We are overwhelmed. These hell ships are too many.
We must sink them before they reach us. They'll doom us if they strike us. Take them down.
Fire ships front. Fire! Fire!
Was I supposed to save our ally? I don't know.
More speed! Wrap them hard! More fire ships close! By the gods!
Where?
They're everywhere!
Where? Oh, the other side.
Galley speed!
Just shoot right here. Just freaking go forward. What are you waiting for? Go forward. Ow. That was a very weak ram, though.
Ready to fire! Fire ships left!
Go, 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 go. We don't have time. Go, go, go. What are you waiting for? They're not close enough to do damage. Why are you... They're behind me? What's going on? Oh, it is flipping behind me. Come on, come on, on time. Fire. Good. This is something I can fix. Oh god, no. Is that it? counterfire? We got all the health back?
Do we have the firepower to deal with this?
I can't see how. With our fleet dispersed and our allies gone, we're undone.
Oh, is that back there?
Man up, you old sod lick! Save your bloody ship!
Another fleet there! Lost! Jove's pissing on our heads from the peak of Olympus!
No! It's Brutus and Cassius! Look!
And our catapult with them! Put them to use! Please! Nay! Don't fear this beast! She's a
They're reloading catapults?
whale, but we'll dance around her
Oh
body
god, that
like
burns.
nails in a pod.
You weren't a poet in your youth, were you, foxy ass?
Oh god.
I should have been, I think. A philosopher too. What we should have been. A million things, Ferrari.
Finally, I have team members here.
Memoirs one day.
I may just do. And if you promise to sneak one copy into the library, our legend will live on. Surely this chapter will be the most widely read of all.
What? Oh, that is fine. We're gonna get off with 2 shots before they get here.
Taking aim! Ready! Fire! Galley speed! Easy pace!
Oh god. Turn. We can take one out.
Let's go! Galley speed!
It's good. Come on. Just turn one out. Don't load the catapults faster, please. Oh crap, go.
They're going to ram us!
No, they're not.
Off the tempo! Fire! Galley speed! Galley speed, let's go!
Okay, good. Alright.
Go to her pace, brothers! Heave a galley speed! Galley speed, easy pace! Heave! Galley speed! Fire! Heave to galley speed!
There we go.
Let it rain! Down, you demons, into the sea!
Hey, yo, slackers! Form up with the rest! Today, we sail together!
What port are you taking us to?
There's a town called Antium I'd like to try. Lots of merchants sail in and out of there. Should be safe for you. From there, it's a half-day's ride to Rome.
Rome Theater
It
of
is only a
Pompeii.
matter of days before Caesar will officially become a tyrant.
There he is. The people love you, Caesar. You're a god.
The Senate will not bow so easily.
A parliament of clucking hens. Let me be your wolf.
Go. Do nothing until I give the signal.
I'm guessing one of them is gonna kill Caesar. Did they know they were there? So many questions. If he knew, why wouldn't he just flee? Uh-oh. Apple of Eden? Or Eden
So
weapon?
Caesar is the king of the order now.
Caesar is the father of understanding.
I've already fought you before and won.
Caesar will die.
You are meddling with the affairs of the Order. The Order is greater than Rome. Go back to Egypt with the rest of the liars and slaves.
You make me understand why murder is just.
I command armies. I control greatness.
I will erase your order from the annals.
You sure about that?
Kneel to Caesar. Kneel to Rome.
How can I see you're losing, buddy?
Side with winners. We are the righteous.
You're
in
losing.
victory.
Caesar will follow you to oblivion.
Your son pissed himself when he saw the knife.
Uh-oh.
I will feed your heart to vultures. You
Can I just-
have no honor. You stole everything from me.
I am a Gabinian.
And Bayek.
I thought you would scurry away. You'd have taken your chance to drop off the map.
Flavius isn't here to save you this time, Septimius. No Roman deals will be made.
I trapped you in a corner, literally. What are you gonna do? You had me stuck and you decided to, what, kick me? You're weird priorities, dude. Are you working with me or against me? It didn't even do any damage there for some reason. Okay, well that works.
Damn you, Lupa.
My son's heart. For your life.
Was revenge everything you hoped? You and the Magi shall drench the sheets with your sweat tonight.
This stuff.
With the Order, I served them and your beloved Egypt. And I'll be rewarded in the afterlife. An eternity of drinking and whoring with my brothers.
The only thing that waits for you is oblivion. For your name, your order, and the rotten corpses of your Gabignani. Up and devour your fetid heart.
So are they actually people? They are not.
Caesar must be in the Curia, with the rest of the Senate.
Alright, Caesar, time to pay. With blood.
This place is crawling with soldiers.
It's okay, don't worry about them. Like 10 times stronger than they are. Do wish the weapons carried over though. Because like you get all the abilities, but you don't get all the weapons. Actually, let me test something. So does he get all abilities immediately, or does he just get the Bayek's abilities? There's only one way to find out. So if I jump and aim, okay, she gets Bayek's abilities. I will fight my way through this. You don't need to make me try to hide. Oh, I can't do the same thing to... Okay, so you don't get all of Bayek's abilities. Ow. I don't even want to imagine how annoying that would be to fight if they weren't level 34. Both of you did the same attack? Wow. I have to attack one at a time. Ow, ow. Don't slap me. How would you feel if I slapped you? Oh well, I should probably try to work in the shadows, considering that's what you wanted. How many more guards do you have up there, huh? How many of you are there? I mean, this is Caesar's kind of personal area, so I mean, I would expect him to kind of be here, I guess. How did I miss the second one? Alright, get him, come on. Yes, there we go. Stop that. Oh my god, seriously? Oh my goodness, there's another guy right there. And another guy behind. It's okay. I ran away. Thank goodness, no loading screen of death, as I called it. Oh, wait, isn't that the outfit she has on in this statue? Are you on this statue? No?
Join with me in building a new Rome. A Rome with you as king.
You too, my child.
They just put a freaking thingy in his... Okay.
The tyrant is dead. You are free now.
Well, hot damn.
Do I know you? You who strikes from the shadows.
The same fate will come to all despots.
In the end, it is impossible not to become what others believe you are. And I was a god!
There is a new creed now.
Yeah! Rome is eternal! She will never fall to you or your kind.
Freedom is not given, Caesar. It is taken. Requiescat in pace. Caesar.
Yes, request garden patch. Yes, that's how you do it.
Do you know what you've done? Caesarion would have sat on the throne of Rome.
Listen to the cries in the streets. They call you a dead tyrant's whore.
I am still your queen.
You are a queen of liars and snakes. I fought for you for 5 years. Our people worshipped you. Apollodorus died for you for Egypt.
For Egypt. I am Egypt!
Then be the ruler our people deserve. Or nothing will save you from my blade across your throat. You are the last of the pharaohs.
So in the end, she spared Cleopatra, huh? I mean, she wasn't part of the thingies, really. She was just a corrupt pharaoh.
Bayek. Caesar has been assassinated. Septimius is also dead. I have founded a bureau in the middle of Rome. Yet, no one knows of our existence. Like Amun, we are the Hidden Ones.
I believe in you.
At least someone does. Doesn't seem like Aya really believes. And why would you not just cut it? Why would you just stick it directly onto the finger?
The irony of freedom. We are free of each other, yet it brings me no happiness. We must move forward. Remain in our tempest of blood poetry. Despite it all, we dance, and they die. From darkness we have come, and in darkness we shall stay. Humans are not
Why can't I
meant to
play with
last
those
forever.
guys?
But this creed will. The creed is the only immortal thing in the world.
Go home. You're free.
Thing is, we've actually met at least her on the travels. The lady standing beside Bayek.
I'm scared.
Should we take him to the bureau?
No. I'll take you home.
Let nothing grieve you beyond measure, for your life is short and time
That
will
is a
claim
deep
its
moment for Bayek right there.
But I am no longer who I was. I have renounced all love I once had.
Yeah, for no reason, technically. So I think Aya's assassins are the
I have
ones that we've
renounced
seen.
Aya. I have killed Aya. I am now the Hidden One, known as Amunet. May your victories multiply.
Why does it stutter like that? I have constant 60 FPS. What's happening?
Papa? Jump.
Oh, okay. Jump. And now Bayek is in Egypt all alone. Okay, so that's the game, huh? I'm a bit conflicted on it, but I also really liked it. I'm not gonna do this mission. It seems to be some kind of special side mission. It's not a main one, part of the actual universe. It could be another one that's kind of ridiculous, like the one where they went from Final Fantasy to drop stuff. So I'm not really that interested in showing you guys. Of course, you can look it up from another Let's Play if you really want to see it, or someone who specifically looks at the events. So, I guess I'll just sit, I don't know, somewhere to explain. Apparently up here, there's a good view again. I shouldn't have jumped like Remu said. I should do what Remu did and kind of just not jump. So first of all, my thoughts. Hidden Ones Bureau. You can now access in Memphis. Unique items are available at the Bureau shop. I mean, I understand that game. Thank you very much, though. Let me just climb all the way up again. So I can give you my final thoughts with a good view. So, let's talk about the good points first. All right, let's start with the good and then continue to the bad. The world design, Ubisoft. I've said this before and I said it again. I even said in this Let's Play multiple times. They never disappoint with world design. And especially making the areas look unique and interesting, especially for the time period. They try to be specific. And try to make things seem like they make sense while also adding their own spin to it. I don't expect everything this game has done to be historically accurate, especially nothing with Cleopatra, except for the times Caesar died and the it's based in history, but it's clearly fiction. So I need to get that out of the way first, so you guys don't think I'm stupid about that. Actually, let me give you the rating first, so you don't have to waste your time listening to me if you don't want to. 7 out of 10, pretty solid. Does not rock from this place, in my opinion. It almost did with the loading screens, which I'm going to get onto later on in the thingy. But first, let me talk about the story and the setting. So, like I said, the setting, pretty much a 9 out of 10. A lot of stuff to do, a lot of places to see. But the travel between them is boring, and I don't mean to sound like it's their fault, because I did walk all the way. But again, it's their job to expect players who are actually immersed in the game and who wants to experience the travels to want to travel around. And this game is designed with fast travel in mind. So when I walk from the top of the map to the bottom, it's a long way, and there's nothing in between that makes it exciting besides just seeing some things. And that is, again, what this biggest strength lies is its environmental design. And as soon as it loses that environmental design, this game becomes maybe a 5 out of 10. That's how much the environment and the setting carries this game. Like any other Assassin's Creed game I've played previously. Whereas Unity, in my opinion, was a master of none, doer of everything. This game, again, it takes an RPG approach, and it tries something sort of new with everything going on. The setting is completely open world. It treats the game as an RPG with camps, stuff to find, the open world logic of dome simplification, where you go from one dome to another, where there's content hidden inside. Again, the only problem with that in the world design aspect is that there's nothing between. So they expect you to fast travel around and do those things, and then they make the travel kind of useless and garbage. First time you travel, though, it looks unique, it looks cool, but after the 5th time you travel down the same road, there's not much to see, and there's not much to do, and it's the same thing again. Enemy spawning patrols, there might be bandits, there might be Roman soldiers. The Roman soldiers leave you alone, the bandits decide to fight you. All that stuff keeps happening, and there's nothing to really combat that, because they keep respawning, which I'll talk about later with some of my crafts. But first, let's focus on the story and the stuff like that. So now I'm talking about the environment and how much it carries the game. Let's talk about the story. Now, the story, to me, was very, very horrible from the after Bayek's encounter with his son. And after the son died, at least after that section where they showed that, the game got extremely sandboxy. and the story was pretty much non-existent. And then you went to Alexandria, you saw Aya, and still the story kind of felt lackluster. You got the hidden blade, woo, excitement mode and moment. After that, everything just kind of felt flat. It was literally go there, kill that guy, go there, kill that guy, go there, kill that guy. Of course, when you got there, they presented unique historical moments and areas. Again, it comes down to the setting and the time it's in. With Giza and all that stuff, and how every single character plays a unique role in every single city they're in, and how you have to assassinate people that causes trouble for the citizens. Very unique, very interesting when the stories happen, but first, Ubisoft, the player has to get to those stories. And you need to guide them in a way that makes the story also impacted. Because here they leave you completely alone after these cutscenes. And that's both a good and a bad thing. Good, because then you can do whatever you want, which gives you freedom. Bad, because now you completely lost the story, and the momentum the story had is completely gone. And then it starts up again every single time you go over to a character, presses a button, and then the story is gone again. Story beats up, story is gone again. It keeps going like that. Excitement up and then down. Excitement up and then down. For the story specifically. And it just gets so old after a while, and I just didn't really enjoy the story that much because of that. And I also didn't feel like the main missions explained Bayek's character very much. Because his character was very, I want to get revenge, I want to get revenge, I want to get revenge. For Remu, I want to kill them because revenge. And while we try to learn Bayek, I actually feel like I learned more about him from the side quests. Whereas the main quests seem to be more about Bayek's mission than Bayek himself, which I completely disagree with, by the way. We should learn about Bayek. We should learn what his motivations is beside revenge. What does he do after revenge? Even I asked him this question, he doesn't even give a direct answer to it. He kind of just says, with the hidden ones now, whatever, you know? And then that's that. So, what do I end up doing now? Answer is pretty simple. You do nothing, because this is just how his character is now. I don't dislike Bayek, don't get me wrong. Based on all the side quests, he seems to believe in the gods. He seems to be interested in every single one of them. And he seems to feel passionate about helping people. And sometimes he helps them even if he doesn't want to, because he feels like it's his mission as a magi, right? In the main mission, he completely seems different, though. He seems like bent on revenge. He doesn't care who gets in the way in the beginning. And he just kills without questioning who the person really is. And he just kind of takes everyone's word for it. I know that there are times when it makes sense, but there's also times when it just simply doesn't. And I feel like Bayek loses his character there that the side missions present him as. And that's kind of interesting, but also bad. It's one of those moments where, what character is Bayek? Is he a passionate magi who wants to help people, or is he a guy who doesn't care what gets between him and his revenge about saving Remu? And when you do side missions, you show that he's the kind of guy who's passionate. He doesn't care about his main mission for revenge, and he's willing to help people around him and take time with those. Especially when you don't fast travel. He just seems like the kind of guy who's willing to go out of his way, even his own mission of revenge, to help out other people. But they play the main missions, and he doesn't freaking care what gets between him and the revenge he wants. He just wants revenge. And there's a contrast there I don't really get along with about his character. But overall, I did like Bayek. I decide that the side mission one is more Bayek as a magi before he lost his kid, and then the revenge path is the one where he still felt conflicted. But he decided that there are more important things than revenge. That's the positive view I have of him. But according to the main story, and if you only play the main story all the time, which I doubt you will, then he's literally bent on revenge. He doesn't help anyone along the way. He just focuses on that sole purpose, because he keeps talking about it, keeps being focused on it. And again, a kid dies because he's too focused on revenge and getting the objective done fast, instead of going about it carefully and secretly and stealthily. well, technically, it isn't Bayek's fault. It's an indirect fault to Bayek. So, yeah, you know, this is how it is, I guess. Not to mention, when he does side missions, he completely loses his revenge thing. I don't know why they decided that was a driving force for him and then abandon it as soon as a side mission happens. But they do. They do, for some weird reason. So, there's that. Aya's character is a bit weird. In the beginning, she's consistent, by the way. So that's nice. Aya seems to have a higher purpose than Bayek. She doesn't just want revenge. Or she doesn't also want to help the people. She wants to help her whole country. And she's more patriotic than Bayek is. But he sees a person needing help. She sees a whole town needing help, or a whole country needing help. And she wants to help the country instead of the person. So she sees the bigger picture, but also she doesn't connect with people as much, as far as I can see. She kind of goes her own game most of the game. Like, she goes her own way, and she doesn't spend a lot of time with Bayek because she's so focused on saving something bigger than each person. Which is why she loses view of Bayek and starts to just ignore him and do her own thing with Cleopatra. So her character is at least consistent, where Bayek just kind of flops around depending on the quest and who you talk to. Whether it's a main story or a side story. But then you end up with Aya near the end, where she seems to still have the same purpose as the beginning. It doesn't feel like she progresses as a character. All she does that seems like her character changes is she doesn't sleep with Bayek anymore. And she also seems to, again, think that Bayek and her relationship simply won't work because they lost their son. They don't expand upon it. They don't try to show a different chemistry. I mean, you kind of get the sense that they're focused on revenge and that's the sole purpose for being together. But you don't really get why they can't be together after the revenge has been carried out. She doesn't need to stay in Rome, is what I'm saying. And she could easily come back to Egypt and be with Bayek. And according to the story, of course, she technically does end up staying with Bayek in the afterlife because they're buried the same place. But it's very weird how she is traveling to Rome and doesn't come back with Bayek, to Bayek, and just kind of hang out with him and try to be more friends and close. You know, I would imagine there would be some kind of thing going on between her and Bayek still, but it just seems like she's completely renounced everything, which makes no sense. I get that you can erase your identity, but in my experience, you can't just erase love. Of course, there's time, and time can sort of lessen the love. Again, that ends up with them being in the same tomb still, so there's still some love she had for Bayek. Although, I'm pretty sure Bayek buried her first, because her specific words to him, don't worry, I haven't forgotten, was, when I get buried, bury me with the hidden blade, so I can take it with me to the afterlife, or the field of reeds, or whatever. She said it to duet. So she clearly died before he did. Her mission was also higher than Bayek's mission was, as far as I understand. Like, the main assassin branch that we've seen is Aya who set that up, while Bayek stayed south and kind of stuck to the shadows and did everything else down there. And Bayek went up to Rome and went more underground, but still kind of above ground, where Bayek kind of just stayed and caused some damage when she was the main driving force of the whole thing. At least that's how I understand it. Hence why her statue is in Assassin's Creed 2 and Origins. But Bayek's isn't, as far as I know. So that's at least what I understand based on that. But something weird happens at the end of the game, or at least sort of halfway and a quarter to the game, or whatever you want to call it, where her being a woman starts being brought up, and I'm like a bit confused because I know she's a woman and I know women got discriminated at that time, but they like brought it up. Is it 4 or 5 times, or maybe 3 times in the span of like 30 minutes of playing as her? And I'm like, what? Why? So Caesar was calling her a woman. The guy up there said he was gonna use her as a whore, and Bayek said, "Go, woman, you can do this. Show that you can be a woman. A woman can do this stuff." It's like, I get that they want to prove that Aya is capable, even though she's a woman at this time. But it's so short and it seems so forced in there, if that makes sense. Instead of going throughout the game where Bayek starts to learn or starts to see her as more of a warrior, although it seems like he already knows that she's more of a warrior from the very beginning. But still, it seems like they want to present Aya as someone who goes away from the womanly role and becomes a warrior, and it can beat men higher than her. Hence why she's probably the one to kill Caesar, who she looks down on women. But it still seems like there's some kind of undertone here. I'm not saying there is, but it feels like it. Where they're trying to show woman power for some reason. And I'm bored with her being discriminated against and fighting back against it, of course. What I think is weird is that when it feels so forced into such a short segment of the game, and then of course at the end they also said she was a whore and everything, and he did the whole touching his area, and then the thing the last cutscene makes you kill someone. They kind of just shoved it in our faces when we played as her, and it's like, I get that they were oppressed, but come on, I'm not here for the woman oppression. Let them say a couple lines, sure. Let Caesar say, I don't believe a woman can do this, and then prove him wrong. And then other stuff as an example, where the mad guy talks badly of her, I guess, sure, but don't keep shoving it in my face. I'm not here for that, alright? I'm here to enjoy myself in a game, not some kind of political message from back in Egypt. This is so early on in humanity that it wouldn't even make sense to argue against the womanly rights at that time. I mean, of course, we know better today, but back in that time, women were considered respectable, but they also were only seen as baby makers and home carers who needed to work out in the fields, or who needed to work a bit, carry water, and do that kind of stuff, where men did most of the handyman-y work, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain everything. Of course, there are different exceptions in time, and there are different exceptions in history and places. What I wanted to see more of is slaves in this game. They don't really get touched on a lot. Back in Egypt, they were voluntarily slaves, and it doesn't really show that much. There was Giza for a little while, where they forced people to come to Giza to work. But then it didn't really touch on it a lot, and I love how they put the womanly thing in, but then they touch on the Egyptian slaves and how they were building things there. It just seems like that would make sense based on an Egyptian game, where you bring up all the things we know about Egypt during that time. To brought in the religion, you brought in the environment, but you didn't touch upon slavery and stuff like that. They mention it. Don't get me wrong, they do mention it. But they don't seem to touch a lot on it, which I am a little bit sad about. Just saying, by the way, it wasn't colored slaves. It was really just them being forced to go somewhere, or them being able to work and do something. And some were voluntarily slaves and stuff. So it's also important to note that it's not all forced slavery as we know it. But it was still a big thing back then. Because look at all these things. They're all handmade. And Egypt at this time was a very big country in the business of slaves and everything. So it's a bit weird why it's not shown. So there's that. Now let's try to talk a little bit about the open world, more the enemy variety and stuff like that. Because I hope you get that my story with Bayek and Aya, I don't know why they're separated. It didn't feel like they had to, if you get what I mean. It didn't feel like they were so far apart that they couldn't repair the relationship. They just talked and said, okay, Remu died, we can no longer be together for some reason. You know, I don't feel like it's appropriate anymore. It's like, okay. All right. And I'm sure there's some kind of deeper meaning somewhere in the story, but if I, who looks into the story way too much, more than the casual person, doesn't get how the relationship really works properly. How were they before Remu? Were they also like this, or was Aya more of a womanly, stay-at-home, carry water and take care of kid type? Or was she always a warrior? Like, we don't get these questions answered anyway. At least not directly in dialogue or context. We only see that she is a warrior now. So did she train when Remu died? Did she was she strong before? We know she's also considered a magi because some people call her magi. Magi is. Why is Bayek considered one of the last magi then? Is he the other last one or the other magi? Or is he not a real magi? Or is she not a real magi? I mean, that kind of stuff is just confusing. Oh, and I do understand now why she threw away the thing with the Magi badge, because it stood for like protecting Egypt, but in doing so, Bayek ended up helping Cleopatra. So throwing away the Magi badge showed that you fight for something bigger than Egypt now, and you don't let anyone control who you are or something like that. That's the best way I can describe it. Of course, there are different ways to interpret it, but that's the way I interpreted it anyway. But anyway, back to the NPCs. So in the world, it feels like the NPCs are plentiful. There are enough NPCs. They have enough variety, of course. I have very high settings on because this game is CPU heavy, not GPU, but I'll touch more on that. And it seems like I did say I was going to touch on the positive, right? Instead of touching both negative and positive, so I'll just touch on both of them. So I don't know why I just completely forgot that I was going to talk about the positive, but anyway. The AI feels inconsistent, sometimes stupid, but other times too smart. Too much health, which I'll also touch on later, because gameplay mechanics, I'm going to be so pissed about that. But when it comes to enemy variety, enemy ideas, and enemy spawns, it's all over the place. Now, I have been through an area where they had like 3 different patrols spawn on me, pretty much at the same time. And I was very overwhelmed at the time. I was fighting a what are they called? One of the bad guys. You know, those guys, the mercenary dudes that were after Bayek at the time. And I there were so many other people. I was almost dying all the time, and it's very annoying when that is the case. I just don't like the way the spawns work. Make them dynamic, make them actually have patrols, and make it so when you kill a patrol, that patrol stays dead for at least 10 minutes or something. Because it's ridiculous how many patrols you come across. I get it. Alright, I get that there are patrols. I get that there are so many. But no freaking way did they assign so many patrols in the same path at the same time. Alright, you cannot convince me of that. That's no way. Alright, no flipping way. Same goes for in towns, where you see patrols going all over the place. One patrol, sure. When you come across a billion, and also the way that they react to you, I get you can't go into the area, but when you walk over to them, they kind of go crazy, and sometimes they attack you for no reason. I don't know why. It just happens. There's no wanted system in this game, so I don't know why. Is it because I was recently discovered by someone and this guy just suddenly knows who I am because of that? No clue. There are also times when you get discovered by one guy and the guy somewhat close to him who shouldn't be able to hear you get discovered discovers you. I do think that it's cool that they sometimes yell out, but when you just shoot someone with an arrow, I mean, I guess you can hear that, but there are times when it wouldn't make sense that I just suddenly know you're there. But this game wasn't as bad as Unity or some earlier games when it came to that, so I'll give that a little point for that. You know, it seems pretty okay with that stuff. But NPC variety, there's like 5 types, 6 types in general. Same as the weapons Bayek uses. So I would say when it comes to enemy types, there are enough, but their health is so ridiculous that it makes no flipping sense and it's kind of stupid. Even when they're lower level than you. Which leads me to the next point, okay? The enemy AI variety is okay as long as the patrols are ignored. Patrols are stupid and they make no sense to have throughout the game. They're the only thing between you and another area when you actually travel yourself. But the fact that there are so many of them and they keep getting in the way just proves that, again, this is a fast travel game. You're supposed to fast travel. Make the path between things interesting for people who actually want to see the terrain. I know it's a selfish request, but there are players out there like me who just wants to run through the game, take my time with it, and just kind of explore every single nook and cranny. And the environment team even knows that for the most part. They make some interesting areas, interesting locations in each area. But then the environment team seems to just lose it in some areas where it's just pure nothingness. And I'm not just saying that because it's desert, all right? There's supposed to be nothingness. But even in a desert, sometimes you see something, like a dead tree. There was a destroyed boat somewhere, which was interesting. You don't see a bunch of bodies. You don't see anyone dead in a lot of areas either. I would imagine a lot of people starved to death, or not starved, but starved and dehydrated to death out there in the desert. And you think that they would at least touch on that as well, but they only have some areas to represent that, and it's just okay. All right, I guess. So there's not really much else to talk about there. It's just a little bit weird. Again, with the whole traveling back and forth with the enemies and stuff. But besides that, I think the enemy variety is okay. I do wish, however, that they had more varied animations. Same with Bayek, you always see the same animation for the most part. Same with I use the same animation set, so... You know, I know she only uses knives, but even though they use the same animation and stuff, so... there's that. But animations, they could have added more variety. It feels a little bit rushed in the animation department, because with this kind of in-depth combat they're trying to accomplish with the RPG games, you would think they would at least try to make the combat animations a little bit different, but no. Always the same heavy attack, same light attack, same combo looks. So the combat started feeling samey at some points, even when I tried to avoid combat a lot of the time. So combat grew a little stale after a while, because at that point it was just enemy shields. I just charged up a heavy attack and hit them. Or wait for the enemy to attack and then hit them, and then it was the same over and over and over again. Gameplay loop. It's okay. It's satisfying to kill an enemy, but it's just why do they have so much health and such annoying like weaknesses and sometimes just weren't fun to fight. Now let's talk about one of my main gripes with the game. One thing that I think they really messed up in Assassin's Creed, the hidden blade is not a one hit. Before you shout at me and say, "What? That's so overpowered," though, it's a reward system, all right. It's not something you can just use out in the blue. They even in the older games you could even use it in combat. Here you can't. Okay, the hidden blade is a one-hit kill because it is how an assassin operates the blade. You aim for the neck, you aim for an artery that you know will kill your target, you use it, and boom. In this freaking game, there is a specific enemy you can never one-hit kill. For some reason, Bayek aims for his stomach or something, and the guy captures Bayek before he gets a good hit in. And I think it is super lame, super annoying, and makes no sense. To make the hidden blade a thing you have to upgrade that is not a one-hit kill. It is utterly ridiculous, and just for that reason, I almost will call this game a 6 out of 10. It's just very sad. I would still call it a 7 out of 10, but for me, it's almost going down to flipping 6 at this point. Again, the environment simply carries it. And the story and the environment, not the story, oh, oops, I hit the microphone. Whoopsie doopsie. The environment and the environmental storytelling and the setting really saves the game. That's the only reason why I just hope it kind of went quieted down. Only reason why it's a 7 instead of a 6 or 5. So about the whole RPG system, make the hidden blade still a one-hit kill. It's the only weapon I can not agree with being an RPG element, like the melee damage and the health and all the other stuff. I can understand what you mean when you upgrade these things. And even the weapons, which I still also don't like, but I can understand it. Hidden blade I can't. Hidden blade should be a one-hit kill. That's the whole point of the hidden blade. Otherwise, don't have it in the game. It is a killing weapon, not a damage weapon. So, get that right, Ubisoft. You completely ruined your own lore with the means of the hidden blade. And don't get me started on how in cutscenes it is a one-kill hit. for the most part. Or at least a surefire way to kill someone, but when it comes to flipping game stuff, Bayek either doesn't get to hit the enemy because it catches him too fast, or it does little damage at times. So, screw you, Ubisoft, for that. I'm honestly mad about that. Assassin's Creed has always been about a hidden blade, and I thought it was a very cool thing, but you pretty much just ruined it with this idea of making it into a damage-based weapon. I'm assuming a lot of you guys are going to disagree with me, but the hidden blade, at least based on the older Assassin's Creed games, is the thing that lets you stay in the shadows and actually hide while killing an enemy. If you get caught when you use a hidden blade, you're pretty much failing as an assassin. So keep that in mind when you're playing Assassin's Creed games. Anyway, these upgrade systems I can actually get behind. The tool powers, the breastplate, the bracer, the stabilizer glove, and the quiver. I can get behind the resource system that takes to upgrade them, and they also aesthetically upgrade. So props to Ubisoft for actually making it aesthetically upgradable, instead of just being a simple stat that rises up. You actually get visual differences with them, and I will give Ubisoft so much credit for that. And I do think this will be okay for future Assassin's Creed games. What I don't like, though, is how they're building up the melee damage and the health. These two things I always believe should be static in games and completely dependent on enemy type. I'll touch more on that later. Then we have the weapons. Some of them have cool, unique abilities. Some of them are just lower level weapons. There's not enough variety to justify the system they have got going on, in my opinion. There are not enough weapons. And I'm a bit sad about that. I've heard a lot of people say in spoiler-free reviews of the game, before I of course played it, that they mention that they believe there might be just enough weapons, and I completely disagree. When it comes to making a character and building it, you build it on stats and aesthetic and feel. Or rather, you build it on feel and aesthetic for the most part. And when you add stats to the conclusion, you kind of just pick whatever has the highest stat instead of completely focusing on what you want as a player. Instead, you're forced to pick what the game wants you to pick, because now you have a better weapon than the one you had before, and it's stupid of you to not use that weapon. I disagree with their approach to RPG weapons here. There are way better ways of doing it without implementing levels into the weapon. You could make it so a blacksmith can enhance the weapon for an hour. You can make it so a blacksmith can upgrade the weapon, like you did with these things. Completely missed opportunity. So it does more damage without being based on a level. Instead, you can upgrade the weapon to a level, and specifically your level. I believe that is silly, stupid, and I don't get it. It just ruins the whole point of finding a weapon that fits you, personally. And it sucks that I'm more or less forced to upgrade a weapon that is legendary, or a weapon that I think is worse than some other weapon, or at least looks worse than some other weapon, and I feel doesn't fit me as a person, just to get the best stats. Now, I try to fight that for the most part by, first of all, the game trying to explore different rarities of weapons and figure out how they work and so on and so forth. But in the end, I ended up just going with what the game wanted. The best sword, and a sword specifically, that was my choice. If I wanted with the best weapon, by the way, I would say this one is the best weapon. The Storm Blades. Simply because I believe they're the best ones. If you can charge up a heavy attack fast, all enemy varieties are nothing to you. So that's pretty much why I think that's the best weapon. I went with this sword because, one, it has fire, and I like the fire effect, and I love these cool special effects. It's just too bad there aren't a lot of these special effects that makes the items more unique. Only these weird stats like critical hit rate and adrenaline on hurt, which, while they do matter, they barely matter. So that is something to keep in mind. The golden effect is the one that makes the most sense to base a weapon off of, based on ability, because they're the best abilities in my view anyway. And fire is one of the strongest ones, because it disables the enemy, and you can just assassinate them, or you can they're vulnerable to attack. So there's that. But anyway, all of these things that's level based, I dislike it, including the enemies. Okay, now before you go crazy and say, oh, it's just an RPG game, all RPGs do this. Yes, but Assassin's Creed can at least do it a little bit different. This does not work for Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed is not about going in there into a camp and fighting everyone in melee combat. Assassin's Creed is about you looking for your target, killing them, getting in quick, and getting out. And typically, you don't want to be good at fighting if you're an assassin. You want to, because you will get overwhelmed immediately. And Assassin's Creed has always based itself on historical logic, not accuracy, but logic. So if you're surrounded by enemies, typically you will get overwhelmed and destroyed. That's typically what happened when you played as Ezio in all the other games. Guy with a gun, boom, you're pretty much done for. Because if you get animated, you're done. If you get surrounded by all these guys, they all have different unique abilities, that's crazy. Now, I'm not saying that the enemy health, by the way, which is a completely different topic, but let me just go into the enemy health now. Enemy health has always been a bad thing in Assassin's Creed games. I'm not going to deny that. Assassin's Creed Unity did it better. I have not played Syndicate yet, so I cannot vouch for that game. But health in Assassin's Creed has always had this big, weird thing going on where the enemies, instead of being based on abilities and animations they have, Dark Souls, great example of how enemy types should be made. In Assassin's Creed, they all have the same. You see the same guy multiple times, not even a different face, by the way. And the attack patterns, the same. They can aimbot you for the most part. And before you say, no, that's not true, for the most part, they actually miss you. Elephant fight. Elephants do not turn around that fast. And if you look at all my elephant battles, very, very unlogical of how an elephant should move. And those battles completely made no sense to me whatsoever. So hate on me if you want for saying that, but those elephant battles sucked. And again, they should take a look at Dark Souls to actually show how boss battles are supposed to be, and how they're supposed to hint the player at a weak spot, how they're supposed to hint the player at enemy attack patterns, instead of just either aimbotting, having the same attack happen 20 times, and then adding one very BS element, like now you can get firebombed or whatever. It's same thing with all of them, by the way. It's just they added an extra one in one of them. It's just like, okay. And then maybe one with extra health, which is stupid. Okay. A lot of these design choices are stupid to me. I know I'm being harsh, but I'm trying to tell you guys the bad things about the game, and I do call them stupid because it's something you're probably not gonna enjoy. But enemy health is ridiculous, and I know it's in the Ubisoft DNA that health is very large, and now you have health bars everywhere in the screen and a lot of UI and all that stuff. But you know, Ubisoft, sometimes change is good, and I do believe that change based on your known games. Okay, don't turn Assassin's Creed into Far Cry. That's pretty much what you've done here. So if you want to make Assassin's Creed into its own genre, remove the RPG elements again. Add in the ones you know work. At least in my opinion, these things where you hunt animals and upgrade. That's a great addition from Far Cry you've added. Levels and health bars and a shit ton of UI. I don't get why. It's stupid. Again, I don't get why all the useless UI has to be in my face. I literally picked the minimal one, and I didn't notice a single time that I was missing any UI. Not to mention, I want Eagle Vision back. Yes, you can say, oh, but you have Sinnoh now. The new Eagle Vision sucks. I mean, it's not even Eagle Vision. It's against Assassin's Creed lore, technically. You can argue that the bird has been taught by someone, Bayek knows, or is someone who is Bayek. I don't know, maybe they grew up together or whatever. But the bird should 100% not be able to communicate all that to Bayek in the way it does. Not to mention, Bayek has a weak-ass eagle vision where he discovers loot. So why not just, instead of having both of them, either stick to one and make that make sense for the character, or just give him normal eagle vision, which was very nice and actually helped you with a stealthy approach. While it is sort of X-ray and it sort of cheats, there's a reason why every other game in the open world genre, or open city genre, whatever you would call it, every single other game has adopted that ability, and now you're moving away from it. Because you want to be different in that aspect. And it's like, if you know it is you who technically started it, and you know it works, why change it? It is a staple of your franchise. Why remove eagle vision, like proper eagle vision? The sixth sense that all assassins who are very connected to the Isu are supposed to possess. In case you don't know, based on earlier games, they said something about eagle vision is a sixth sense that is connected to the Isu DNA in humans based on Adam and Eve. Stupid, again. This is just silly. Ubisoft doing silly things, as usual. What I do like, though, is the variety of bows. Usually when you think of a bow, I just think of the hunting bow. They have a predator bow, which is very satisfying to use. Might be a little bit overpowered, though, but satisfying to use. Of course, you can keep it a low level to make it not satisfying to use, but it helps being an assassin. And I think just one thing they really improved with this game, it is making bows feel like bows. Because earlier on, you had to lock onto a target, press the button, and that insta-killed an enemy. Oh yeah, and in the past, by the way, when I say Assassin's Creed DNA, Assassin's Creed went from very weird combat that felt kind of clanky, the way you couldn't really fight Altair, to combat where enemies had a lot of health bars, health and weird markings above their heads. Yeah, I'm talking about those weird diamonds that all the enemies had in 2 and Brotherhood and 3. And then you went to, and then they went to, for some reason, they decided to go, oh yeah, let's make it combo based now. So again, now we're promoting combat instead of, you know, making it assassin-like. And now we are in a territory where they will go back to health bars, being crazy. So why are you going back to health bars if you removed in the first place? Are you learning? It doesn't seem like they're learning. So I don't know. What enough being done on Ubisoft. I'm gonna focus on this game for now. So health bars aside, enemy variety kinda, in enemy animations and enemy feels and everything, it doesn't feel like enemies are unique. It doesn't feel like they have some kind of special trait to them. They just feel like the heavy guy, the shield guy with some kind of wolf mask, arrow guy who can also fight in melee sometimes. You don't see, oh wow, this is an undead who's pretty simple to fight but can still be dangerous, you know, like in Dark Souls. And I do feel like if you mix this with Dark Souls, you'll get a great game, but of course it's never gonna happen, so I don't know why I'm trying. If you really want a heck ton of UI, and you want the health bars on screen, it's pretty obvious that you should go more of the Dark Souls route than the RPG health sponge route. Anyway, like I said, the bows are an addition to the game. I really like the bows. Great job on those. The outfits, I like that you have the outfits. I prefer having a logical way to swap outfits. You know how you can go over to a wardrobe and change outfit in almost all the older Assassin's Creed games instead of going into a menu and changing it? I want that to be the case again. I don't like that you can go in here and change the outfit. It's convenient. I understand that. But it's also kind of immersive breaking. Why would I be able to just change the outfit? You can probably argue that it's an anime, so if Layla wants to do that, she can. But I completely just disagree with that logic, and I believe that it's just kind of silly again and sort of stupid, because they've had that before and it worked. So why not now? Not to mention the freaking the Isu armor looks so just not Egyptian. I can't say much because I was using a Gorilla's outfit. This is just because I felt like it fit Bayek. But the flipping Isu armor, every other Assassin's Creed has some kind of meaningful assassin outfit. Hence why I was like, okay, when Bayek get a meaningful situation thrown at him where he feels like he needs to become more than what he is, I'll give him a new outfit and a new identity. Sort of. And then I'll evolve with Bayek beyond what he once was. But through the whole game, the only major thing that happens is Aya's and his breakup. And the fact that when the assassins get established, the hidden ones, like even before they mention that they're hidden ones, like when they're at the table and they're like, we need someone to stand up for the people and stuff. And sure, I guess I can agree. Still kind of meh to me, but I guess I can agree. But still, make the outfits more. Just make it so you can do a wardrobe or something. It's stupid how they've gone so far from logic, like historical logic, to historical RPG elements. Not even historical, there's just RPG elements in general just shoved in there. Mounts, I like the idea of this. The mounts, but again, I want to go to a stable and change my mount. I don't want to go into a menu and do so. I like this edition 100%. In the past, I have complained about this. The fact that you can't remove the hood or add it. Because in the past, you had the hood, and you only took the hood on whenever you entered territory filled with that was forbidden. And I felt like as an assassin, you shouldn't only do when you enter things that are forbidden. I want to just control when I wear the hood, because I think I look badass, and I think it's a staple of an assassin. You don't just wear whenever you're in enemy territory. So it really pissed me off that every single time Edward or anyone else was outside of enemy territory, they didn't wear a hood. Again, I thought that was weird. And I also like that you can choose to have long hair and a beard. Now, I wish there was more customizability to these two options, but I like that they're there. And I don't think you need to improve more on them for this, especially if you like the hood. I don't like the hood. It's just part of Bayek's character that he has long hair and a beard. So I don't dislike that. I understand and I get why you only have hair and beard. It's Bayek's character. It's not some custom RPG character. It's Bayek's character. So yeah, that's the worst gripe with the game. The whole way the RPG system is set up, it just does not work. And anyone who says it works, good for you. You probably had a better experience than me. But here's the kicker, alright? You know how I'm like, oh, I wish all enemies could just scale to my level? Ubisoft have proven that they can do that, okay? Let me just show you this. They have proven that they can actually do that with this effect here, with this thing. You get this? This thing scales lower level enemies to around your level, right? Why can't they have it so higher level enemies also scale to your level? Why? What's stopping them from just making this a normal game where all enemies are your level and it's actually up to skill whether or not you win a battle, instead of it always being up to who has the highest level and strongest stat weapons? And then especially health bars of enemies will be more around yours if you end up with the same level enemies. It's just a perfect balance around your level constantly. In a perfect world, of course, you wouldn't need enemy levels, because then you would just make the enemies unique in that aspect, that each enemy has a specific weakness and a specific strength. And in combat, they will utilize their strength, and you will utilize their weakness. Hence Dark Souls. But in Assassin's Creed, the enemy's threat is solely based on the level, not what type of enemy they are. Therefore, it loses the whole enemy threat level. Even bosses don't feel like bosses, because they're either too easy or too hard to beat. Because they had so much health for the most part, and you had so little compared to them. So this would have fixed a lot of my issues, if you could just scale higher level enemies to my level too. Who the heck thought it would be great to only level up the lower levels? They're like, oh yeah, the players only want a chance, not balance, so let's just make it so they have no challenge. The way the levels are made in this game, like at least make it so at least one-shot enemies that are higher level than you then, because then you would also have a rewarding gameplay loop. The only reason to ever add levels into a game like this would be to try to make you be more stealthy and make you think about how you approach situations, right? And that's how I see it anyway, otherwise I see no reason for the enemy level system. So you need to think about how you approach and who you attack. And in this game, it's impossible to attack everyone in that way. You're forced to confront at least that one guy who can't be assassinated, or any enemy that is at least, I think it was 3 or 4 levels higher than you. Maybe 10. I don't actually know. I upgraded my hidden blade as fast as I could just to get rid of this stupid thing. But if you don't upgrade your hidden blade, you're not gonna have a good time going that route. So there's no need for the enemy levels. They make no sense at that point. Because now you have to approach the situation the same way you would regardless of level. You're just forced to go away and come back later. And it's like, okay, I get that you don't want me here now, but why? Most of the time it's just because there's loot there. There's no real reason for it, it's just loot there. Like any other area that was lower level before, but this area is special for some reason. So stupid. Again, I don't get it, Ubisoft. Why have this and not have higher enemy scale? Why? I don't understand. This is just why? I don't get it. Do I have to play an easy just to get like low health enemies, or does that just change what? Like, they also don't explain what the difficulty does. It's a little bit weird. Does it make it so the enemies become more bullet spongy, or does it actually make them more attack more often, or whatever? Like, explain that. All of these settings up here are explainable. They explain them pretty well. So why the heck not the difficulty and make it so the enemy auto level completely overhauls the whole level system of the game? For people who prefer to have a Ghost of Tsushima, yes, I'm bringing up that game, okay? Ghost of Tsushima level of experience where enemies are just special in their own way and you have to deal with them in different ways. Instead of it being, oh, that enemy higher level, so I attack lower level enemy first, regardless of what class he is. I just don't understand. It's silly, it's stupid, and I believe Ubisoft should have done something about that. Look at me rambling. I've rambled for like an hour. So it's a it's an ass situation. Anyway, now let me talk about the most fun thing to talk about in every single game that comes out nowadays. Bugs. Yes, you know the bugs. So this game has maybe 2 or 3 game-breaking bugs. Bugs. Now, usually I prefer not having a single game-breaking bug. And what I can't game-breaking is when you have to restart the game in order to fix it. So I ran into a loading screen bug. Don't know why. Specific sections had the whole thing where I couldn't actually get a good loading screen. I don't know why. It just happened. It was weird. I don't know why. But the loading screen just kept going and going and going, and then I had to restart the game in order to fix it. Next up, we have the I don't remember what happened. It was another bug that kind of broke the game for me. Anyway, there's one I remember specifically. I just remember there being at least another one. But here we have let me just bring up the lesser bugs then. The cutscenes seem to stutter for some reason. Don't know why. They shouldn't. Constant 60 FPS in the cutscenes. I still don't get why. It's weird. I just don't get why. When it comes down to very mediocre bugs that can cause you to die and stuff like that. I got stuck on a tree once, hit the ground and I died, even though I shouldn't have. Because fall damage in this game is based on airtime. not actual distance from the ground to top, which I can understand, because, you know, typically that's probably the cheapest way to do it. It makes sense, too, because usually you wouldn't get stuck in the air, so it's fine they did that, but still. A little bit of a weird bug to have, and then there are some weird movement bugs that I started encountering pretty late in the game near whatever that area is, Serene or something, where you ran on the edges and Bayek's animations just didn't know what to do. They wanted to go high up, but you could just see that his physics didn't really allow him to, and then he ran weird while running up the hill, and happened a lot in that area specifically. So that was kind of game-breaking in the sense that it just went weird, and all the cutscenes had less of an impact with that weird performance issue I had with some scenes. And I mean, it's weird, because some scenes were very smooth, and other scenes were lagging in the cutscenes. So it's just very weird. I don't know why. It's so weird. But that's enough of bugs anyway. There were a bunch of other bugs I got. But it was mostly visual bugs, not actual gameplay bugs. Besides, you know, the fact that I don't know if it's a bug, because it's probably intentional by Ubisoft, but when enemies swing at you, sometimes they lock onto you and slide sideways on the ground. And they expect you to, of course, not notice that. But at times you do notice that, and then the immersion is kind of broken for you. Because an enemy, when they start attacking, does not slide. At least try to lift your foot a little bit and aim at someone. No, I'm pretty sure Dark Souls has that issue too with some enemies. But yeah, it would be great if you could at least show that they turn some way physically instead of just sliding them sideways. Especially the elephants. That was just ridiculous. I don't know if that should be counted as a bug, but it was definitely a gameplay immersive breaking experience with those fighting things, and that happens in every single fight. Okay, to a certain extent, that happens in every single fight, and it's very lame, very annoying. So I didn't really like that. When it comes to performance, I know this is a long thing, but I really want to express my feelings as someone who either needs to play the game, buy the game, or it's just very interesting in Assassin's Creed. Performance in this game is very CPU heavy. So if you don't have a modern CPU, and I'm counting 11 and down probably, below i7 territory, maybe an i5. I have an i5 12600 KF. But if you have below that, this game could cause issues for you. But I do believe that it's okay from earlier generations down to at least 10. But just note that this game is very CPU heavy, and the CPU is most likely going to be your limit, so you should probably just crank up all the settings here until the CPU becomes your limit. You can look that up more online, how CPU and GPU limits work. But this game is very CPU heavy, and I don't get why. It's silly. Again, I don't know what they did to make it that performance heavy. I think it's something about the NPCs walking about, but they don't have a complicated code as far as I could see. So I don't really understand why. And everything happening on screen while you climb and everything, I get that could be CPU, but it doesn't seem like it should be that bad. So there's a very big unoptimization thing going on in this game, and I think that's also in later games. I'm not quite sure, but it just seems to be a weird thing going on in this one. It is DirectX 11, so it could just be that it doesn't use all the cores, and therefore, or not all the cores, but like more than one or two. It could just be that it doesn't really do that well, and doesn't take. It takes more single core performance into mind, but it also performs very badly. So anyway. Just needs for signifying that I should probably stop talking about that now. But performance is not very good. So think about that before you buy it. And you can't really change these settings and expect a better CPU performance. It's almost impossible. All of these are pretty much CPU settings. There are some of them that can change CPU, but very slightly. So keep that in mind. Anyway. Anything else I found there was an issue? Field of view? Nah, nothing here. FPS limit? Music and everything is good. I'll give them that. Sound design was pretty good. Not too much going on there. In the bad department, anyway. I like the riddles too, and the lion stuff. I also like the tools. I like that I brought the tools back. And while I didn't use a lot of them, I also didn't use them in the older games. And I know some players can get creative with killing enemies, and I do believe that this is a great way to promote creativeness in players. I let them go about killing the enemies in their own ways. Same thing with the bows and the different weapon varieties there are. I do like how they changed the varieties, although the older games did a different weapon varieties too. But not the same way. It didn't play as big of a role, but still it does play a role. So I'll give them props to that as well. The way you can go to shops in the game and buy items, I also think makes perfect sense. Maybe they could make it so you have to go to one of those to actually change your outfit too, or change your mount. That would be a great way to just alter a small thing in the game and make it make more sense, instead of doing it from your menu. The menu is easy access, I get it, alright? I get it, that some players don't want to travel over there and change things. But for the love of everything, Ubisoft, if you don't at least have a logical setting in your game, and everything seems logical and makes sense, then players are gonna just get thrown off and just kind of don't want to play anymore and just think, oh, this instead of this being a very cool cultural and environmental masterpiece, this is a game that makes up its own ideas and everything, and you can just it's very RPG heavy. So, you know, well, why should I care about the historical stuff? Because that's Ubisoft's strength. I don't get why they're not utilizing their strength. The strength is historical moments, historical things going on, settings in ancient times, or even older times, even modern times with Desmond. They completely killed that when they killed Desmond, and then they just kind of borrowed from their older games until they decided, now we go RPG, because players seem to want RPG stuff. And of course, I'm gonna end everything here by talking about... Well, before I talk anything, I'm just gonna say this map... while people say that Ubisoft maps are becoming too big and too little content, I do feel that sometimes with this map, but most of this map I didn't mind exploring. I didn't feel like there was too much space. I felt like every single area was unique in its own way, and I did actually enjoy exploring that. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about all the missed opportunities Ubisoft took with this game. First of all, Hidden Blade one hit all the time. That would make players approach at least higher level enemies with more care and make them believe they could take on the challenge of fighting high level enemies. But that was completely annihilated because Hidden Blades are no longer high level, so yeah. There's a certain tension that rises when you fight someone stronger than you, and you want to prove the game wrong. You want to prove to them that, oh, I just see the LOD keeps popping in and out down there with the crest. But anyway, you want to prove to the game that you can do this, that you can beat these enemies, and that you can fight back, even though you are very low level. And the only way you can do that now is by becoming an assassin yourself and playing as an assassin in game by going from quests, try to trick them. You have all these cool tools. Why not let the players use them to kill higher level enemies than they are? Instead of just making the enemies either... I don't know, the areas leveled, which I also think is stupid, but... instead of all that, why? You could easily make it so the Hidden Blade is a great tool for overcoming big challenges, but you don't. It's just another tool you use to kill enemies that you can kill, and then try to avoid bigger level enemies, or fight them and just drag it out until their health goes down faster than yours. So I feel like the Hidden Blade is a missed opportunity for them. And I feel like it's sad that is the case, because it was one of the strengths in the past. You saw these armored enemies, and then you as Ezio jumped on them. Same with Unity and all of the other stuff. You took down the stronger enemies first, and then you went into combat, because then you strategically picked the strongest targets. Here, the strongest target is the one that technically can discover you, so you kind of have to ignore that guy. And just kill the ones you get a good shot at before you go into combat. You're kind of forced in the direction in that aspect. So that's one missed opportunity. Next one is AI friendly and enemy. They have friendly AI in the game, only with people you travel with sometimes, and they don't always utilize their own weapons and skills properly because they want you to be the main character and take charge. There was one time that left a big impact with me when I was helping out a woman with killing a guy who took over a farm, and she actually killed the one of the gladiator dudes that were after me. And I kept commenting on like how she's now the main character and everything. And that made me feel excited and thought it was very cool that this simple side character just owned the freaking dude that I was supposed to kill. Now he didn't have a lot of health left when he decided to kill him, but she did kill him. And I thought that was freaking awesome. That made me remember Brotherhood, where you called your assassins to help you, and all of a sudden, now you could do things. I know the game after Brotherhood also had it. I forgot his name. But it was so awesome you could do that, and it makes no sense why they don't have that in this game about the Brotherhood. You clearly meet people that could join you. And it would make sense for them to follow you, or at least hide with you in the shadows, especially after the assassin thing. Those guys could be wearing hoodies or something. They don't even have to wear hoodies. It's not a staple yet that they wear hoodies. But they could be jumping in and assassinating everyone. It would make sense. You could call friendly allies in that you've helped in side missions. That also make you more enticed to do side missions and explore those stories as well, because they're probably the strongest part about this game. So that's, again, a missed opportunity for them to, one, promote the side missions, and two, add more uniqueness to NPCs and enemy AI. Again, you could call your assassins in to kill the strongest enemy and let them fight the weaker ones. So you go run in and steal some documents or kill their leader or something. Because that was one of the highlights of Brotherhood and the one after. So that's, again, kind of meh for me. Then we can also talk about the real world. Now, a lot of people prefer playing the historical segments, but hardcore fans, and I do mean hardcore fans, all of them. I don't care who, if you say you're a hardcore fan, you're not a hardcore fan if you don't care about everything that happens outside the Animus. But I do like the modern day story with Desmond, and I did like the relationship he had with Lucy before, she was actually killed. I'm not going to give too many spoilers based on earlier games, but they came out a long time ago, so be warned that I might hint at something. But when he does the thing and stuff happens, it was a surprise. I was in awe, and then you got to know the context behind it, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, I was hoping it meant that the Isu were evil and they were guiding him to do bad things. But instead they kind of threw that off and was like, yeah, that was the case, and now Desmond is like all fine and everything. They just helped him. Similar to all the things you can find in this game, sort of. Where they are technically talking to Layla, Bayek, and the player. Still very meta of Ubisoft. But anyway, that was the case there, and that's also a missed opportunity for them to explore the world outside of the Animus properly. Like, we don't get to know Layla in this whole section. As far as I remember, based on videos and everything, a lot of people hate not Aya, but Layla. Everyone likes Aya. I don't really like her character that much because of how she's in the end. But besides that, Layla, I feel like I could like if I just got to know her more. So far, she just seems like a spoiled person who really wanted to work on a project, went behind a company's back, Abstergo, and kind of did her own projects. Of course they would freaking hunt her down. Like why not? Kill her friend and her, of course that's extreme, but hunt her down and bring her behind bars would make sense. I have no reason to feel for Layla at this point in time, and I don't feel like there's any reason to really try to understand her point of view, because she's literally a blank slate who has a few characteristics that we get to know. One, she gets the bleeding effect. Yes, the fact that she gets the bleeding effect that has already been established is somehow a characteristic moment for her. Probably more of a moment for the Animus, to be honest, but Still quite important for her character that she's willing to get the bleeding effect and how it affects her and how she gets to learn how to use the hidden blade. That's kind of character defining for her. She even starts to become Bayek later on and feels what he feels and everything. Then you get to read her notes too, where you get the sense that she's compassionate, but that doesn't show at all in the character outside of the notes. So there's a disconnect there. When it comes to her priorities, it's more about what she wants than people around her. And the fact that Dee died was 100% Layla's fault. Dee warned her and everything, but we don't really get to see her feeling the loss properly. He's like shouting in a walkie-talkie about how it's their fault. And how she's gonna keep fighting. And get this. She is literally the kind of person I dislike, doesn't care about consequences of her actions. Even in the end when the assassins come to her, could have killed her and everything. She just goes, I don't really want to work with you guys, but you know. After everything she's seen Aya and Bayek stand for, after she looks up to Bayek and Aya, and is very interested in their past, she's still like, meh, don't really want to trust you guys, you know. I don't want to trust this. I don't want to be a common assassin. I'm just kind of working with you for now, I guess. Like, what? You're in danger from Abstergo. The one friendly faction you could be part of right now is the Assassins. Otherwise, on the run for life. In modern day, especially in Abstergo modern day, in Assassin's Creed modern day, no freaking way you can just hide alone. The Assassins have perfected that for centuries. And you're like, you know, maybe I shouldn't join you guys, even though I'm getting hunted by Abstergo and everything. So I just don't get how they missed a complete great opportunity to introduce a new character we can identify with, like Desmond, and explore her past and her story. Is she an assassin? Is she just dragged into this? Based on what I've saw, it seems like she's dragged into this, and makes it her deal that this is how the assassins sort of started. But her character has no reason for all of this besides curiosity and joining the assassins eventually. So what is her main drive? Is it just joining the assassins, or is it just, I want to go into enemies and explore things? Does that make her even a worse person? So I don't get that. It makes no sense to me. Our character is built anyway. It's very confusing to me, and I believe it is the worst possible way you can introduce a character. At least Desmond's was told later on in the backstory that, I mean, you hear a backstory that she worked for the university and she worked for Abstergo, because that's not been done before. Hint, hint. A lot of earlier Assassin's Creed games where you work as an Abstergo employee. Gone rogue, Black Flag, you know. But about that, it seems kind of weird how they decided to go with the typical Abstergo employee gone rogue situation instead of trying to add depth. Maybe a whole new important assassin line that's not yet been discovered is here. But this is just the origin of Bayek and Aya, of how the assassins technically came to be. And yeah, I feel like it's a missed opportunity to introduce a whole new line of DNA. Of the assassins from her side, very similar to Desmond, and then we actually get to feel for Desmond and her. I feel like they have some kind of connection, which makes the thing I've seen in Valhalla kind of make sense. Because yes, I got a bit spoiled there, but that's my own fault. So. Yeah, that's that. If you don't talk about what I'm seeing, go watch the Valhalla playthrough or mine if I have one on my channel at that time when you watch this. And then I guess you could explore that. But there's enough rambling from me. I've already spoken about the missed opportunities. They also missed all the opportunities Ghost of Tsushima literally took. I don't need to say them, do I? I mean, let's start with stances, animations, enemy design. Health, the way health was made, the way stealth was always an instant kill, how bows operated, and guess the world is also interesting there and very unique to the environment. So yeah, two games that have a very similar game of playing, while one focuses to one specific audience, the other one focuses to the other specific audience. Again, while the RPG thing focuses on new players and driving new players to the series, Ghost of Tsushima became successful just because it went the old Assassin's Creed formula. Just let that sink in for a second. And I would highly suggest you go watch Ghost of Tsushima Let's Play. Sadly, it's not on PC yet, so I can't play it. And I don't own a PlayStation 5 or 4. So yeah, again, I would highly recommend you check it out, because it's a better Assassin's Creed than Assassin's Creed. And if you play it, I would highly recommend pretending you're an assassin. Just for the fun of it. Although it kind of goes against the story in the game as far as I know it, but could still make sense, could still be interesting, could still be fun. And yeah, I would recommend this game to anyone who enjoys open worlds and exploration and historical games. I would not recommend this to people who enjoy historical, logical immersiveness. This game does not feel historically accurate. It does not feel like it approaches combat in a logical sense, and the story is not redeeming enough to really call it historically, logically makes sense. So yeah, that's kind of my final way of saying it. Open world's cool, the world is cool, the design is cool, gameplay is very mediocre, very RPG inspired, which I personally don't like. Very bullet spongy, even though there are no bullets, but very spongy combat where enemies have a lot of health. The levels make the gameplay feel more off and kind of annoying and bad. And at the same time, you have some good sides where you can upgrade the hidden blade, and you can one-hit a lot of enemies. But there's this one specific enemy, if they're your level, that you still can't. And the balance of levels is ridiculous, is stupid. Same with the whole idea of enemy levels in the first place. So yeah. Again, if you like RPG elements, you like cool historical settings, this game could be for you. But if you're a person who focuses on gameplay more than setting and historical things, this is probably not the game for you, because the gameplay in this game is very heavily spongy and RPG-ified. So yeah. I prefer Dark Souls combat. I'm not a big Dark Souls fan. I'm actually more of an Assassin's Creed fan, but since they kind of lost their identity with this game, I don't really want to be a fan anymore. I still want to play the newer games, because I mean, I've heard bad things about Odyssey, but I still have a channel to run, and I do believe I can play it and enjoy parts of it. But I think my conclusion of that one, on all the other RPG games, is going to be the same as this one, where the story might not live up to the assassin lore, and the assassin part of the Assassin's Creed is just gone. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this whole Let's Play and this very, very, very long ramble. I have been rambling for a lot of time. My throat freaking hurts. It doesn't help that I'm pretty much sick. And, again, sorry if I offended you in any way. I'm just stating my opinions and my own experience. Same with things I like and dislike about the game. You can, of course, have your own opinion and own view. And if you believe one of my points to be wrong, you can leave it in the comment section. I try to go as in-depth with all my points as I can. Of course, I can always go more in-depth, but I don't feel like there's a point to it. I'm not here to start an argument or anything crazy like that. I'm just here to tell you guys whether or not you should buy the game. And whether or not it's something for you. So if you disagree with me, that's fine. Again, you can prove me wrong in the comment section. Tell me your viewpoint. I prefer it if you didn't try to correct mine, because this is my view, not the general view. But if you believe the levels will make sense, I respect that. I disagree, but I respect it. If you believe that the whole RPG system made Assassin's Creed better, good for you. I mean, you're probably gonna be happy with all the newer Assassin's Creed in the future. I am probably gonna be very disappointed. You're gonna get the best experience. I'm not gonna try to convince you otherwise if that's the case, because that's only good for you. That you really enjoy that. But as a longtime fan who does not enjoy all the RPG elements, like, it really freaking sucks. That's pretty much the conclusion about all the old Assassin's Creed stuff. Is it's lost its identity and gained a new one, and that's okay, I guess. It's their own franchise. It's just, if they want to run it to the ground by focusing on things that is not what the franchise is, then I just should have. Then I would just like to please ask you, Ubisoft, please, if you are listening, make a new franchise for this kind of game. Because I don't see why you have to ruin Assassin's Creed with it. There's clearly players who want this game. There's clearly players who want RPG elements and historical settings. Why mix it with Assassin's Creed? Why not make a new IP? I just don't get it. I would only think maybe they don't have enough studios, but they clearly do. I just don't get it. But they've been RPG-ifying everything in recent years when it comes to Ubisoft, so they're just going all in RPGs and apparently NFTs, according to some Ubisoft stuff that has happened for a couple years, so yeah. But I hope you guys, again, enjoyed watching. I hope to see you in another Let's Play of mine. I do a lot of Let's Plays, again. I hope I didn't offend you too much. Hope you you don't feel angry or upset over my views and opinions. They are my views and opinions, alright? I just need to stress that out again. This is what I think, not what I believe is fact. So, again, you can try to prove me wrong. You can leave in the comment section, all that stuff. I'm happy to listen to you and read what you have to say. So yeah. Anyway, that's that. I don't know what else I can say to make people who just overreact a little bit less overreactive. But yeah. Again, hope you guys enjoyed watching. Hope to see you in another Let's Play of mine, all of you. Maybe some more positive Let's Plays. Recently, there's only been a lot of negative. It's a little bit sad, but I'd like to approach things a little bit more positively than focusing a lot on the negative. But recently, it's been kind of hard with games coming out because the gaming landscape now is kind of like a minefield. If you step in the wrong game, you will blow up. Like as in, you'll get upset and you feel that the game has lost something important. Not just this game, by the way. A lot of other games. Recently finished Hogwarts Legacy. A lot of the same problems with that game as this game, weirdly enough. So, yeah. I hope to see you guys in another Let's Play. And consider liking, subscribing, and sharing. I would appreciate it. Yep. Stay awesome. And again, see you in another one of my Let's Plays.